Billions of potential combat scenarios exist. You cannot learn them all. Here is how we filter them into a curriculum that builds real competence. Consider the numbers. 2 opponents. 6 core skills: guarding, striking, blocking, parrying, grappling, throwing. Multiply by every possible distance, timing, and role, offense and defense. Simultaneous action or delayed reaction, close range or far, moving or stationary. Each variable multiplies the next. You quickly reach billions of potential conditions. No one can master billions of things through trial and error. A lifetime would not be enough. But competence is not about memorizing every possibility. It is about understanding the patterns that govern combative reality. You need a system that filters the infinite into the essential. That is the engineering problem we solved at Modern Combat Martial Arts, or MCMA. We do not teach every possible condition. We ask a different question. What conditions account for 95% of what actually happens in a fight? This changes everything. When you filter through practical relevance, through how human beings actually move and react under pressure, the billions collapse into thousands. Apply progressive skill development as another filter. The thousands collapse into hundreds. By the time we finish, you have a manageable number of core conditions. These represent the vast majority of what you will face. We distribute them across the curriculum from green to black belt. Each condition builds on the last. You learn in a structured progression, not random exposure. All 6 skills interact in combative reality. A striker faces a guard faces a grappler faces a thrower faces a striker. But not every pairing is equally relevant. Some appear constantly. Others are mathematical curiosities with no practical application. We prioritize the pairings that actually occur. Striker versus guard, grappler versus striker, thrower versus grappler. You train both sides of every interaction. By the time you reach black belt, you have trained every tactically relevant pairing multiple times. Multiple contexts, multiple angles. You build a complete map of how skills connect in real engagement. Combat happens at ranges. Too far and nothing happens. Too close and some options disappear. Combat also unfolds in time. Sometimes you and your opponent move together. Sometimes one moves while the other holds. Sometimes both adjust simultaneously. Every combination of distance and timing creates different threats and opportunities. Our filtered conditions cover the full spectrum, from initial contact to close engagement, from steady positioning to fluid movement. You learn to recognize what each range allows and what it prevents. You train to operate effectively at every distance and timing. This is not abstract theory. This is practical mechanics you drill until they become automatic. Every combative exchange involves roles. Sometimes you act, sometimes you react. Sometimes those roles shift mid-exchange. Early training builds competence in one role first. You learn to see clearly and respond to what the opponent presents. As you progress, you learn to operate from the other role. You build the ability to create action, not just react to it. At the highest levels, both roles become available tools. You move between them based on what the situation demands. You are no longer bound to a single mode of engagement. This fluidity is a skill you develop through deliberate practice. You train both sides until neither feels foreign. We do not ask you to manage complex exchanges before you master simple ones. We do not place you in close quarters before you understand distance. We do not ask you to grapple before you can guard. The progression from green to black belt is a ladder. Early stages build foundation. Simple exchanges with clear parameters. You learn to see clearly and respond accurately. Intermediate stages introduce greater variety, more complex interactions between skills. You add new skills as prior ones become reliable. Advanced stages develop full-spectrum capability. You learn to operate across all distances and timings with all 6 skills available. The final stage integrates everything into core strategic principles. When you complete the curriculum, you have trained every relevant condition across the full range of combat. You have practiced each skill pairing multiple times. You have worked every distance and timing combination that matters. You have trained both roles until they become interchangeable. This is not mastery of infinite possibilities. It is mastery of the patterns that govern 95% of combative reality. You do not need to memorize billions of scenarios. You need to understand the principles that make them predictable. That understanding comes from systematic training. Each class builds the next. Each belt adds new layers. The result is competence you can rely on under pressure. Billions of possibilities collapse into a teachable system. Your job is to train the conditions that matter. Start with the fundamentals and build from there.